that.
All right, guys, I think we're going to get started.
You're going to be me now.
Thanks for your patience this morning as we just kind of got some things set up here. Welcome. We're so excited to have such a full room here and for our session today. I'm really excited about today. What we're going to watch in just a couple minutes is a live ILT 5-star meeting. So we are going to watch it just like we would. We know we are all growing and learning and getting better at all these things together. And one of the best ways that we can do this is to watch together an example of a meeting, give us a chance to kind of react to it, reflect on it, notice some things about it. But one thing I want to do more than anything else is just thank this group of individuals so much for being here today. Look at them. They are fantastic. So they are putting themselves out there. Well, you know, we are all learning this year.
We just want to thank you for the extra weekend at the beach next
Absolutely.
weekend.
No problem. Shh, we weren't supposed to tell anyone.
I'm sorry. The lights and the cameras are making me a little nervous. I'm going to tell all my business now.
We love it. We love it. But we know that we're all learning this together for the first time. They have started this year just like almost all of you in this room. So they are new to this. They are learning it just like you all. And they're putting themselves out there so we can all just talk about it and grow and learn from each other. So we have over here, we have Becky Ford, who's the principal in McCormick Elementary. Kim Hughes is the assistant principal. Monica Kimbrough is the lead teacher. And Michelle Davis is the reading teacher, or the reading coach. Okay, and they are going to do, this is their regular meeting. This is real life, guys. This is their regular meeting scheduled for this week. No practicing. It's not like the meeting that they did last week and they're redoing it again now. This is it live this week. So thanks to them for being here. I also want to introduce, we have Kim Day with us as well. Everybody, most of you, lots of you know Kim. Kim is the project coach in Marion. So she and I will be tag teaming a lot and jumping in, and we'll be going back and forth a lot. She knows the work that they're doing exceptionally well too, and is really close to the action. Also, it's pretty obvious, but look around, we're also taping this session. So this will be something that we're recording as well. So just excuse the lights and the cameras and all that, and all the lights on us. Okay, so I'm gonna turn it over to the team for a couple minutes. If you guys wanna just share, tell us a little bit about McCormick.
Well, I mean, just sitting here looking around, this is what our ILTs typically look like. So we appreciate y'all being with us again. You were with us last week when we did our ILT too, right? This is what, the lights, the camera, this is just standard operating procedure.
That's what you do.
But McCormick Elementary School is a rural school basically in Marion County, South Carolina, which is about an hour or so inland from Myrtle Beach, Horry County. And we're in the Marion County School District, which is a part of the E3 grant. And we're happy to be here today. We're a little nervous because, we're, all you guys, and at the end of our session this morning, it will either be, we'll let you know if this was what to do or what not to do. So, but we have about 350 students at McCormick Elementary. We're grades 3, 4, and 5. All of us are new to the school this year. So we are a new instructional leadership team to McCormick Elementary School. We weren't quite sure exactly where to start because we were all new to the school. And so we decided, that what we needed to do was find out what was going on specifically in our language arts and our math classrooms. And so our POIP was the structure of the ELA and the math block. So that's where we started. And so as we move on, we see little things that we need to tweak and work on. And so that's where our work started and what's guiding us as we go through this school year. Would any of you ladies like to add anything in addition to what we just discussed, what we just shared? They don't want to say anything. We did our own hair.
We have great teachers, and we feel very supported as well as our teachers. They are very supported, and they're excited that we're here.
They are. Yeah. And we did our own hair and makeup this morning.
And they look fantastic.
I have to be me. There's nobody else I can be. And happy birthday to Dr. Seuss, right?
Yes, happy birthday to Dr.
So I've got
Seuss.
shoes in my feet and hopefully brains in my head this morning. We'll see. Oh, the places we'll go.
Oh, the places we'll go. You got it. So we're going to dig in and get them started right away with their meeting, but a little bit of context that we wanted to provide for you first. You have a packet. You should have some packets in front of you. And those of you that have been in our sessions know pretty typically how we will have on the screen, if there's something that we're talking about and it relates to something in the packet, you should see the page numbers that'll tell you what to do. We put some things in there really just for context and for reference for you. One thing I did want to ask, how many of you in here, I see a lot of faces that I know, so I know you're doing ILT meetings, you're having 5-star meetings. Is there anybody that's new to the process? That's learning it for the first time? Okay, this is going to be really cool to watch and really interesting. But please jump in, and especially I'm curious to see your reactions at the end, because you might not have quite the context that some of the other people in the room. Kim,
So Becky,
yeah.
let me add to that. So if you have somebody that's sitting at your table that has not experienced the 5-star meeting protocol, those of you at the table that have, please help them to understand as we're having these conversations. All right, take them under your wing.
Yep, that's great. Thank you, Kim. So let me just run through some of the resources that you have in your packet before they get started. You may want to just be flipping through these as we go. Number one, especially for those of you that are new and haven't experienced this before, on page 2 and 3, I give you a blank agenda. So there's just a totally blank one. It's a little bit later in the packet, but we also have, and this is how real life this is. We just like added this last night, right? Or a couple of the day before. But on page 12 to 13, they have today's agenda. So you can see what they're starting with for today. You got a blank one and you have today's agenda. Okay? You also have a couple of their rock planning guides and the tools that they've been using. On page 4, I think it starts on page 4, you have their year at a glance. So you can see their whole year, what they were kind of thinking when they started, how they've adjusted as the year has gone on. They are just starting their 3rd quarter rocks at this point. So they're, what do you guys, like 3 weeks into your 3rd quarter rocks, or not even?
Not even.
Okay, so we're just starting the 3rd quarter
Yes, ma'am.
rock. Okay, cool. So you'll see the rock charter planning tools as well. That's going to help give you good context for what they're talking about. Can you guys just give us a really quick summary? What are your 3 rocks this quarter?
Our 3 rocks for our quarter are supporting teachers in implementing the Eureka Math curriculum. We began Eureka Math the week before school started this year, and so we're still working on that. Specifically, we've shifted to this quarter because we're getting close to our testing season and the end of the school year into our pacing guides. And guys, jump in at any time to add to what I'm talking about. So we're specifically looking at the planning protocol for Eureka Math, which is from the Engage New York. So we're also planning and implementing instruction for better writing. We've gone through all of our ELA teachers have gone through some writing professional development, and we are taking what they've already done through that, looking at our data. We just got a TD, I'm telling too much information because we'll get to that in a minute. And then we're also supporting teachers specifically for 3rd quarter with read alouds and shared reading components of the balanced literacy framework.
Great, so we've got Eureka Math, writing, and shared reading.
And guided.
Shared
and read alouds.
Shared read alouds. Okay, so those are the 3 big buckets that you'll hear them talk about in their meeting. Just a couple other things that you have. We also threw in there on page 11 the ILT rubric that we use as we're reflecting and helping people reflect, and that you all use as a reflective tool. So that's there for a reference for you, as well as on page 15 to 19, you see some of their scorecard information that they'll be referencing during their meeting as well. Okay, any questions on those documents? A lot of you are probably familiar with the structure and the format of most of those documents, so you should know that well. I do apologize, I scanned those quick just to put them in there from other documents, so they're a little fuzzy. And I didn't notice it, but you should be able to get the good sense of what it's all about. Okay, so with that said, I think unless anybody has any questions, we're gonna get started. Everybody feeling good? They're gonna aim to kind of keep up to about a 45-minute meeting. So they may cut it a little bit shorter than they typically would, just for the sake of the session, but it should be pretty authentic. Okay.
Before we begin, just to let you know that we keep all of our agendas and our scorecards and things that we need in Google Docs. And as we're meeting, we are updating as we go. And so we share that. Instead of having one person that does all the updating, we're all in there together and bumping in each other's blocks, but it works for us.
Can I show them?
You may show them.
Yeah, see? So they have the exact same meeting agenda right on there, and they're just plugging it all in there in their Google Docs as they meet.
Okay. We're ready.
Okay.
All right. Miss Hughes will set our timer. And I am putting our start time in. Good morning, ladies. How are y'all doing this morning?
Good morning.
All right, we're going to do our personal and our professional best. So, Miss Kimbrough or Miss Hughes or Miss Davis, would one of y'all like to begin with your personal and professional best?
I will start. My professional best is I am continuing to work with a group of 3rd graders on just building their thinking as we're working through shared reading, and they just continue to amaze me at the thinking that they do and how, when we're discussing text, what I learned from them in the text. So it's really going really well, and I'm enjoying that. My personal best is I got to have breakfast with my nephew this morning, who I see maybe 3 times a year, so that was great.
That's good. And we enjoyed meeting him as well. So thank you for bringing him to us so we could meet him. Ms. Hughes?
My professional best this week, as some of you may know, that one of our schools, or our high school, our girls are going to the state championship basketball game this morning. They're playing in Columbia, and they came through our school yesterday, and the captain of the ship was here. And so we had about 350 kids outside all at once waiting for the bus to come through, and that went off without any interruptions. And even though the bus was off schedule a little bit, that threw us off schedule, but everything went well. And
we knew it would.
And my my personal best is I just had a birthday, and I was able to celebrate that with both of my daughters, because I have a daughter in college.
And we enjoyed that as well. And she's with you this weekend, so
Yes,
we enjoyed
and she
seeing both of
is.
your daughters this weekend. Ms. Davis?
My professional best is I'm working with a 4th grade class, and we're doing inferring, and a child that never participates, never says anything, she participated this week. So
Good.
I was very proud of that.
Good, excellent.
And then my personal is my daughter Madison. Y'all know she's real shy. She has finally decided she's going to the prom, so we get to
Oh,
go
excellent.
prom dress shopping.
Yay! That is so fun. Well, thank y'all for sharing. My personal best is, it doesn't start off as a personal best, but yesterday morning when I got up to put my contact lenses on, one broke in half. And so I called my husband, who dug around in the drawers and at home in the bathroom, and he found about 6 different contact lens cases that might have had a contact lens in it, and carried it to the school so that Miss Hughes here could bring me a contact yesterday. So I put my contacts on when she got here yesterday afternoon, and I have them in this morning because I couldn't have done that with my glasses. With my glasses today, I couldn't have done this. So that's my personal best, that I've got folks that I can count on to do what I need them to do. So that's my personal best. My professional best is Kim Day was visiting our school last week, I believe. Time runs together, and she and I went into a couple of classrooms. Well, I did an impromptu math lesson in the classroom, and I'm just so blessed that she decided to video it and put it on advanced feedback. So it was kind of, and I've watched it, and interesting to see me. But I love teaching. I've always loved teaching, and I love to see that in just that little small clip that I think I still got it.
And she shared it.
She did share it. That's exactly, and she shared it, and they all watched it. So I would love the feedback on how I did. Those of you not from South Carolina, we have a 4.0 rubric that we do for our evaluation, and so I'd like to know some feedback on how I did, especially on the instructional piece.
Be on your desk Monday.
Thank you very much. I appreciate that. On my desk Monday. That's great. All right, so thank y'all for sharing your personal and professional best. Let's go into our status update for each of our rocks, and it looks like that we have indicated that we're on track with each of our rocks. And what I'd like to do, though, real quick, is just to look at our milestones, because that helps us track whether or not we really are on our status updates for each of our rocks. And so if y'all want to look at our milestones for just a moment. And I got to flip back over to quarter 3. So for our first rock, weeks 1 through 9, providing collaborative sessions twice a month. So that's weeks 1 through 9. So we're on that, correct? Mm-hmm. That's right. And that's for the Eureka Math. And then coordinate with the district team, and that's upcoming. I believe I'm scheduling that for March the 12th for the district team to come in. Mm-hmm. All right, for the Eureka Math. And so coordinating with the E3 consultant, that would be Tim.
He will be there.
I see him back there.
March 11th.
Okay, good. So that's on. And review observation information, and we are doing that as a continuing as we go through all the weeks. And we'll talk about that scorecard in just a minute. So now, Monica, can you talk a little bit about the writing piece, the scorecard, or not the scorecard, but the milestones? Do you have that handy?
For writing?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay,
For that rock.
So we have the collaborative planning sessions twice a month. We're still working with those. We had one
last week. And then we have one coming up next week. All the teachers have gone through the Literacy for Learning PD, and we're continuing to do the observations and review those.
Excellent. And then, go ahead, I'm sorry, Beth.
And we do have the TDA,
Okay.
third quarter TDA. I don't think we've had scheduled that yet, but that's weeks 7 through 9. So we are on track for that.
All right, and then our other rock for the milestones for the read aloud and shared reading. Anybody want to jump in on that one and share where we are with our milestones? You feel?
Well, we've been doing observations throughout our ELA classes, in which that's ongoing. And are we on track for the collaborative planning session?
We are, because our collaborative planning sessions, they're integrating the reading and the writing right now because they're focused on the TDA, but on the close reading through interactive read aloud and shared reading. So we are on track for those.
Excellent. All right, so let's go into our team updates then. So I had a busy week this past week, but I did get in some classrooms, and I also participated, as you see here, in our collaborative math session, and the 4th and 5th grade and the 3rd grade. I participated in our STEP meetings, and then we're reviewing Faunus and Pinnell data and also the map data. And I think we did some reviewing some map data when I had a hairball because I'd been dressed as Cat in the Hat. But that's okay. We got it okay. All right, Ms. Hughes, update us
I'm
on.
actually going to add.
You want to add something?
to
Okay, that had a
update
hairball?
review. I'm not going to add the hairball. I'm going to add the map data review.
Okay, thank you. All right. Ms. Hughes?
And I also got a chance to go in and visit some ELA classrooms, and I attended our 3rd and 5th grade STEP meetings,
Okay. All right.
which I actually answered. Remember, we had some questions about some of the answers that Ms. Dozier came up with on our the sheet for the questions.
Yes. Yes. Okay. All right, Ms. Kimbrough, you want to update while you're typing, or you want me to go to Ms.
Sure.
Davis?
Go to Ms. Davis.
All right, Ms. Davis, update.
Okay, I facilitated the PD on the TDA questions. I attended the 5th grade literacy for learning PD. I've done 2 meetings with Read to Succeed coaches. I've worked with 3rd grade and 4th grade teachers, and also I need to add that I've worked with a 5th grade teacher.
Okay. And with that, that Read to Succeed, not Read to Succeed, but the Literacy for Learning, that's specifically directed toward our writing, correct?
Yes.
Okay. And we want to make
But
sure.
it does also pull in the reading.
The
and
right.
some more of that.
Right. Okay. All right, Monica?
And I facilitated the collaborative planning session with 3rd grade, the hour and a half this past Monday. Also did an extended observation on the 5th grade ELA teacher that we're getting ready to, Ms. Davis and I are going to work together to go through a coaching cycle with her. And we've been reviewing map data to look at those students that were close to approaching and close to meeting in comparison to where they were on SE Ready last year, so we can start having those conversations with teachers around student growth and their action plans for that.
And this Monday, I'm starting meeting with them during the collaborative planning, individually looking at their data. All right, so let's look at our reading scorecard then. To see what we got on that. So but basically what we've just described is a lot of it is already on our reading scorecard, that we're just trying to keep up with what we're doing. I've noticed, as I read through this, that we are including on our scorecards our sessions that we're modeling, or our modeling, and also our coaching. Do we need a separate scorecard for our modeling and our coaching sessions, just so we can kind of keep up with? So this scorecard would be more for our professional development as whole group, and then for our modeling sessions and our coaching sessions, do we need a separate scorecard so we can keep up with those separately?
We probably do.
Probably do.
So that we can see it separately.
Okay, so we can kind of track it, all right? And so I'm going to add that to our issues list, or I already added it to our issues list, so I added that to our issues list. We can discuss that when we get down there. How are we doing on our time, Kim?
Okay, 34 minutes.
All right, very good. All right, so is anything that anything pop up interesting on our scorecard here as we're going through our reading one? our reading scorecard. I noticed everything basically we talked about, our text-dependent questions that Ms. Davis facilitated. I think she has that on there. Our collaborative planning sessions on Mondays that we do. Interactive read aloud that Monica did, or has done. Thank you, Michelle, for adding the details for me on that. The Tiger Rising, continue reading that.
Could we maybe add, when we're discussing the modeling and coaching scorecard, whether or not we want to start including anything on here as to what we do with lesson plans?
All right.
Because that's part of our milestones is,
So maybe we need
or
a,
was it, or maybe I'm going
No,
back
it
to
is. I
quarter
think it
two.
is.
Yeah.
we have coordinate with
Because
district.
we don't note that anything that we do as far as feedback on lesson plans, we aren't including on our scorecard in any way.
And we don't really have any, I'm rereading the milestones.
I may be confusing quarter two.
You may be, because I don't see anything with lesson
Okay.
planning right here. And we do include our lesson planning, what we notice on our lesson plans when we do our observations on that scorecard.
Well, never mind.
It does say, though, on our success measures, under ROC 3, observations and lesson plans will show that teachers are implementing correctly the components of balanced literacy. Do you want to add?
So maybe we need to add that to our issues list to look at, do we need to add anything to our
I got it.
milestones? Right, and scorecards related to lesson plans.
All right. Let's go then. Anything else from the reading scorecard? Let's move on to our writing then. We'll come back to the Eureka Math. Let's look at our writing. I think the only one, since we've started these ROCs this quarter, the only thing we've done specifically, whole group, for the writing is the session that you did after school that day. Is that correct?
Yes.
How did that go, Ms. Davis?
It went very good. We divided up into groups. Third grade did the memory string, fourth grade took Because of Winn-Dixie, and fifth grade 100 Dresses. But that was because they have read those in the classroom, and so they worked on the TDA questions. And we were going to develop some lessons with the TDA questions on Monday, but we've had something else that we need to address that we found out at the STEP meeting that the fourth and fifth grade teachers needed to
Faunus and Pinnell?
Faunus and Pinnell.
Okay. They had some questions about?
But the questions that they submitted from that, each of the teams had to create the text-dependent questions, and they really did. They were very rigorous, quality
Excellent.
questions that they came up with.
So we're going to do something with them. We're just going to have to, we got to talk about that Faunus and Pinnell this Monday, the collaborative planning session, to make sure we get those scores right. Okay. All right. Anything else for the writing?
I don't think so.
Okay. So let's look at the math, Eureka Math. All right, Monica, you want to talk about what we've done?
Well, we did have our collaborative planning session with third grade teachers on Monday. Spent a portion of that going through the Edulastic that the district has purchased, showing them how to use that for assessments. And one of the things that has come up is pacing. And so some teachers are behind in their pacing. So we really spent the rest of the time having conversations about how they need to adjust going forward, because they're not going to get all the modules completed before testing. So we looked at some different resources that they could use at the State Department, looking at the planning protocol, and so they are all expected to have submitted by yesterday their pacing plan for the remainder of the year.
Okay. And looking specifically at what do I have to do, what can I leave out, what can I, okay.
Yes.
All right, very good. All right, anything else for the Eureka Math? I want to add something here, but it will be off our schedule, so I'll postpone it to another time. It'll be off our flow, and I'll end up having us gigged when we get to our rating, because I will digress us. So let's talk about classroom observations. Now, noting that one of the things that we do when we're looking at our classroom observations is when we submit when we complete our scorecard, and for some reason I think I'm looking at the wrong scorecard.
Yeah,
I think I am. I am looking at the wrong scorecard for classroom. Anyway, I sort them when you complete them. I sort them by teacher so that we can. I think I'm pulling the correct one up now. So ladies, if you will bear with me, I'm going to re-share this with you because somehow I had the wrong one pulled up. All right, Kim, Michelle. Oh goodness. There you go. Ms. Davis, you are not popping up. What is your...
Well, I think I have it.
You have it already? Okay. All
Let
right.
me see if this is it that one?
Yes, ma'am. That's the correct one. Monica, do you have the correct one up?
How do you distinguish the correct one from the which?
I don't have the correct one.
I'm sharing it with you now,
Here,
Kim.
you want to see it?
All right, so anyway, so I sort by teacher, not by date, so that we can keep up. Remember, because we want to make sure that we're hitting those teachers that are in our tier 3. We make sure everyone's hitting them at least once a week. And so I sort them by teacher. So I'm noting that in Miss C's class, we all got in that classroom like we were supposed to, so that's good. And we are continuing, that's the teacher that we're going to be planning with. That's when you were mentioning a few minutes ago, Monica?
Yes.
Okay, and so, and that's also, we have some assistance from our reading interventionist we're going to be working, okay.
Yeah. And I need to add, because I was in there yesterday.
You were in there yesterday also?
So I need to
Okay.
add another
Observation? Okay, all right, and then I sort it. And so just kind of looking at if what we're doing is working and helping and we're seeing any improvement, so we'll continue to chart that. So have we started doing our small groups yet? In that?
No,
Okay.
in that class, not yet.
Okay, all right, thank you.
We're still sorting the levels.
Still starting, how about the Fawn and Centennial? We got all the,
Trying to finish
We're
some of
trying
that
to-
up.
Okay.
So we can make sure we've got kids in the right groups.
okay, all right. And we're using, that was the NWEA that I saw when working with the reading interventionist to pull those small groups?
Yes.
Okay, and looking at the Fawn and Centennial information also, all right. All right, so then we're going to go to third grade, Miss C. And so that's the class, Monica, that you were modeling in. When you mentioned those third graders, that's the one you're typing in now? Okay.
Yes.
And they're still coming along? I was so excited. Okay, they're still coming along?
They
All right.
are.
And,
We got interrupted with map testing, but we
okay,
picked the flow back up.
all right. Okay. And I'm noting that in our classes that in a lot of our classes, I'm seeing some improvement in our Eureka math delivery and instruction. So that's good news too. I think the discussion that we're having, I think having the books helps. Instead of just having the online version, having the book helps, that have that in their hand. But yeah, and I'm seeing a lot of growth with our Eureka math in and out of the classrooms. So is there
And our map data seems to be supporting that.
Yeah, we've had a lot of growth.
In most classes.
Yeah, we've had a lot of growth in our map data, and I've got those positive referrals on my desk. I got to deliver those out next week. We've had some good growth in that map data, absolutely. I'm excited about that. And so, I mean, it's nice to see. I do still think we've got some lesson plans that we need to, work on a little bit, some planning. But I have noted that in most of our classes, when you go in, the lesson plans and the instruction are aligned. We just maybe need to do some more rigorous planning. So, Anything else of note in your observations this week? Or over the last 2 weeks since our last meeting? Okay, let me go back to my agenda so we can see what we're doing next. All right, did we have any, we don't have any to-dos from our previous meeting, or didn't have any to-dos for today, since this is basically our first ILT meeting since we developed these rocks. So, all right, so let's look at our issues list. All right, and so on the issues list I have, need a scorecard for coaching and modeling sessions, and discuss lesson plans and scorecard with lesson plans. So how will we prioritize? Which one y'all want we need to tackle first?
I'd say the scorecard for coaching and modeling.
Okay.
Well, I don't know though, because we can continue to record that on our, like we've been on those other scorecards, so maybe we need to do lesson plans.
I think we need to do lesson plans and
Okay.
scorecards. I think that should be our first priority.
Michelle?
I agree.
Since the lesson plan, I know the modeling and coaching is going to impact student learning, but also those lesson plans and making sure our teachers are prepared, rigorous in their plans.
And we already have something we can use to
Okay.
continue to record the
Correct.
coaching and
All right.
modeling.
So let's talk about that then, with our lesson plans and our scorecards, or just lesson plans for a moment. So
Fix that for.
the math lesson plans aren't really that much of an issue because they basically are scripted in our Eureka Math. And our teachers are pretty much following that Eureka Math continuum and going through that. So let's talk about then our balanced literacy. And since our ROC says read aloud and shared reading components, why don't we make that our focus? Looking at how they're planning for that shared reading time and how they're planning for that read aloud.
So do we want to adjust the ROC charter for that? Because we don't have any milestones of what we're doing. There's nothing in our milestones that reflects anything that we're doing as far as lesson plans.
In
Like,
our
It's in our success measures,
yeah.
but
Mhm.
nothing, we don't have
Yeah,
anything in our milestones.
and we might want to do that. Do you have that document pulled up? All right. So what are we thinking we want to add to our milestones? Because what we have in our success measure is observations and lesson plans will show that teachers are implementing correctly. So I guess we need to add lesson plan review, weekly lesson plan review. All right, can you add that, Monica? And that would be weeks, well, technically already past weeks 1 through 3, but however you want to add it. Specifically looking at the read aloud and shared reading because that's what our ROC says. All right. I'm going to pull that up. So you're in the ROC charter. All right. All right.
Do we want to just use the observation schedule that we've got as far
I
as
think-
who reviews?
I think so.
Okay.
I think that'd be good.
I think that would be best. So we already have an observation schedule, so we'll just add that person. We'll check those ELA lesson plans. Yep. Excellent. All right, I'm looking to see what you're typing. Okay, weekly review of lesson plans, specifically looking at plans for read aloud and shared reading. Team members will check the ELA lesson plans of those teachers that are on their observation schedule. Yep,
I was like, of teachers.
following the observation schedule we already have in place. What color am I?
You're pink.
I'm pink? Okay, thank you.
Well, it showed
No,
up
you're
purple
green
just
on
now.
me.
When
You're
it-
teal.
on
Then it
mine.
was purple.
Okay, all right. Back to business. Okay, now then, so we've added that to I am going to add that to our decisions list that we have. So on Dr. Seuss's birthday,
So we need a scorecard for
we
that.
need a scorecard. Yes, ma'am. Oh, I see an arrow.
For the lesson plan?
Yes, ma'am. So we need something showing that we've checked them and what we found and what feedback we provided. Does that sound about right? You want to
So
work
what
on
are the
that?
components going to
will.
be for the lesson
Okay.
plan?
You can go ahead and pull that up and work on it now?
It would be,
You did it in a Word
Word
document and you added a
And
table.
that- Okay, yeah.
You
We
could
said that
possibly
you
use
could
one of the
actually pull
the
up-
scorecards
yeah.
that we've already got created and
And
just,
add to
save
it.
it,
Yeah, add
save a
to
new
it, yep.
document, create a new document based on that.
and what are the components for the?
Of course, the
It'd be
teacher
the
name,
teacher.
the date, or the week.
The reviewer,
Yeah. Yeah, which one of us, the reviewer that did it? The-
and just notes and summary
Notes.
like we've
Time
done
like
now.
it's-
And then how
the
feedback
ones.
was provided. Was
Okay.
feedback provided face-to-face, or did you do an email? Did you just add it to a comment in the Encore system? Yeah, how feedback was, feedback was provided and how it was
Okay.
provided, yeah. Yes? Yes, all right.
So you got that,
Yeah,
Michelle?
I'm working,
Okay.
yeah, I got it. I'll share it in just a minute.
Okay. All right, I'm typing into our decisions. What you need?
Piece of candy.
One out the basket,
No, one of those hard pieces.
the blue one?
That'll work.
Nothing.
Oh, now I have a blue time.
All right. All right. While Michelle is working on that, how's our time, Kim?
18 minutes.
That we've got,
We have left.
We have 18 minutes left, okay. All right, so we have time, we can talk about if we need a scorecard for the coaching and modeling sessions.
Well, I'm just wondering why we can't just continue to put it on the scorecards for reading and writing like we're doing, because then we've got one more document that we're trying to manage while we're in here. So is there a reason for separating it from, this is part of what we were going to do for reading, this is part of what we're doing for writing, because those are included. Those are parts of our milestones for those rocks.
true,
So
that's true.
do we really need a separate scorecard just for coaching and modeling if that's part of the milestones for those rocks?
Okay?
And
And-
I'm good either way.
I know.
I'm just,
And the only reason I put it on there is when I was reviewing it, it just popped into my head and I added it to the issues list. I figured we could discuss it. But I mean, if it flows and it's working and it's doing what we need it to do, then we don't have to create another scorecard. I know, Michelle, you're working on something for our lesson plans right now, but
Should we maybe document the difference on the scorecard?
let me go back and look at it
I
again.
think we
Could
do.
it be tweaked and just
Well, we
the
could add a
second?
column that
That's
says,
what I was saying,
yeah, we could just
let's
add a column that says modeling, coaching, or PD, or whole group. You want to just do that? Can you
I'll
do
do
that?
that.
Thank you, Monica. So good. Excellent. Good job, good job. All right. So I will add that to our decisions list. I'll take care of that.
You create a column. You might not be able to make a column unless you turn it, I'm looking at it when you can do it.
I don't know, it's not letting me like
Because you know
highlight
what,
them
you
to
might have
add
to
the column.
go back into the Word document. Like go back into Word and open it up in Word and then add.
We should be able to in here. So, let's see. Let me see what it says here. Yeah, I got it.
Got it?
Let's see. Time in, time out.
Ma'am?
No, I wouldn't put time in and time out on lesson
No, you would
plans.
not.
So date, lesson, teacher,
Feedback? Well, maybe what was noted, was it, because we're specifically shared reading and read aloud is what we're concentrating on looking at.
Type of activity.
And since we're going into that classroom as well, we'll also be able to note on the observation list, on the observation scorecard, if it was aligned also. But that's good. I like that. I think that's going to make us more focused.
Modeling, professional. I'm just gonna do PD, so it doesn't take up so much room. Okay. Is that good?
Let me see, where did you add it to?
I just added a
Reading
column after the
scorecard.
focus.
Am I going to have to close and open it back up again probably? Or should have
No,
just
I
popped
didn't
up
know.
automatically,
Yeah, it
didn't
should've
it?
just
And which,
popped
oh, I see it, there it is, coaching, modeling, PD, good go. Yeah, very good. And you did the same thing for, do you think we need to do it for Eureka
Yeah, I'll do that as well.
and for writing?
Okay.
Need to add them for those also. While we're, oh my goodness, what did I just do? While we're doing, let's see if I can back that up, I did. So while we're tweaking those scorecards, is there anything that we need to put on our to-do list for next week? Today, well, for today. I mean, I think we're getting it all taken care of right now. In front of all these lovely people. Should have worn my Dr. Seuss outfit
I
today.
didn't add it to Eureka because I looked back at the rocks.
All right.
And most of our Eureka support comes through PD and collaborative planning. We don't have anything on there about
No, we don't
coaching
have
and
anything about
modeling.
coaching and modeling on there. You're absolutely right. That was a good note. That was a good thing to note. Okay.
Okay, I can't make that switch.
What you trying to do, dear? Change it to landscape. You can't change it to landscape. All right.
Could you file,
I'm sorry.
just
It
add
looks like it would
professional
change it
development?
right there.
Or
Format.
I mean, I can add it in there, okay, and then we can use it in the future.
It's good. I'll tell you what, how about go to File? We'll do it the easier
And I
way.
guess
And go
collaborative planning
to,
doesn't technically follow our coaching.
Download as a Word document, go back up. Download as a Word document,
Okay.
and then open it as a Word document, and you may have to put it back on there. I can do that if you can't get it on there. And then enable editing,
Okay.
and then go to Layout,
Do we want to?
and then Orientation.
Do we just want to, the coaching and modeling PD column, we just want to do going forward? We don't want to go back?
I think so. I think just leave it like it is for now, and then we can, yeah. I mean, you can if you want to for the next meeting. So we'll do that for the next meeting. I'm gonna put that on the to-do list since it looks empty right now.
Okay.
So we're going to add,
Each member will go
Information.
back and add
yeah.
that column.
11 minutes.
And that's the writing and reading scorecard.
Well, I did, I actually did go add it to the Eureka because I said we could continue to use that because we may add coaching in there, and technically collaborative planning
Gotcha.
would fall under coaching
Absolutely,
and PD.
absolutely.
So
Okay, absolutely. So I'll just put it on. Okay. If you want to just save that,
I am. I
and
got
then you
it.
can email it to me, and then I'll add it to the Google Docs, okay? You can do that. All right, so let's go to then, let's take a moment. Any other issues? No other issues. All right, so let's take a moment and look at our norms, and then we'll talk about doing our ratings. And then I tell you what, before we do, well, we'll do that first. Let's look at our norms. So did we start and end on time?
Yep.
Or at least 3 of us present?
Yes. Yes.
All right, even if you're absent, well, we weren't absent. Active listening, did we active listen? Did I interrupt anyone? Because that's what I work on. Did I do okay? Okay. Agendas were distributed, check. Agendas and meetings kept in Google Docs. Okay. Consensus used. Active participation, stayed focused.
Yes.
And encourage each other.
Always.
Did we do that? Okay. So then if we look at our 5-star meeting card, basically a lot of things we just discussed were on there. It talks about our scorecards being up to date. They were. How do you think the work that we did today will impact student learning? Who would like to rate from 1 to 5?
I'm gonna give us a 5.
You're going to give us a 5.
as
All
well.
right. You're going to put it in there for yourself? Okay.
I'll do a 5.
And that's good because Monica usually gives us lower scores. She's our toughest rater.
I'm a little critical.
All right. Oh, I see you're already putting them in there. Good. We still got to talk about them. Y'all trying not to talk about them, aren't you? All right.
Okay,
So
I'll talk about it.
go ahead, Ms. Davis. Why did you give us a 5 today?
We stayed on task. We looked at working on lesson plans. We got our observations. We talked about where we were going to put the observations. Help me.
The lesson plans?
Modeling
coaching.
coaching,
Okay.
yeah.
I gave us
I
a
gave
5.
us- I gave us a 5 because we did stay on task. We updated our scorecards, and we also updated how we're going to do our lesson plans as far as making comments and making sure that all of those key pieces are in place.
Okay.
So,
I gave us a 5 because we stayed focused. We didn't bird walk at all today. That
No
was
squirrel,
great.
no squirrel chasing?
No squirrel chasing today. But I thought everything we did tied directly, we continuously referenced back to that rock
Okay.
and tied
Absolutely.
directly to our rock charter.
And the POIP, which is the ELA and math block. Continue to tweak, fine tune. I gave us a 5 also because I think we did everything our norms said, and our impact. I mean, making sure the shared reading and the read aloud and the math gets fine tuned, and working on those lesson plans and make sure those lessons are rigorously planned, and our kids will be engaged, and we'll see a big bang for our buck. So I gave us a 5 because I think it will directly impact student learning, and I think we did a good job staying on track and focused on what we were doing. All right. So if someone at the table to my right or to my left will hand us a copy of the rubric for our survey, we will now take our survey. Because I do not have, that's one thing I do not have.
Here.
Is that it? Thank you. Find the rubric in there, ladies, and we've got to take our survey.
Can I borrow someone's rubric
There it is.
too? I'll give it right back.
Thank you. We'll share one. Thank you, though. All right.
You want the rubric?
I'm just going to read the first question, and then you can answer. So utilizes, so I don't know if you guys have a copy of the survey that we have to do. Utilizes distributed leadership within the ILT, above proficient, proficient, approaching proficient. That's what we're working on now. So if you will pull that survey up. Already got the survey up? All right, look at the bottom of the agenda, Ms. Davis. Our agenda for today.
Okay, I'm having a little difficulty.
There it is. Scroll down. Scroll. Actually, I think it's above that. There it
There
is.
it is. Okay.
Just click on there.
11.
There you go. Click right there. There you go. All right. We're going to come back and talk about each one of these, but I want you to choose your.
Could we ask them to also rate it?
Can we do that now? Or you want us to come back?
Just to look at where they would rate it as well?
Would you like to? Yeah. Yeah.
All right.
Can they-
Sure. What now?
yeah. How are we going to do it?
I'm going to do it.
Okay.
Our time is good? Because we're going to go off the grid a little bit now, because obviously this was not but anyway. So we're going to ask you guys to help us. So the first, if you've got your rubric,
It's on page 11 of your packet.
page 11, and that was the one thing I did not have for some reason, and panicked for a minute, but you guys came to our rescue. The first question is, utilizes distributed leadership within the ILT, and it was either above proficient, proficient, or approaching. To be proficient, to be above proficient, it says all ILT members have an active role. One of you guys want to do this?
Well, you know what I think that we should
'Cause
do?
that's a lot
Let's
of
go on and let's go talk through just letting them notes and things like that. But I think that when we just ask people what they noticed about it, we're going to ask them to stick to what do they notice about this in particular.
Okay.
So we'll use that general conversation starter and focus on the rubric. How's that
All
sound?
right, so you want us to go ahead and do our survey ourselves?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Guys, let's go ahead and answer them.
This is something that they do for their district. Kim, do you want to give a little context of the survey that they're talking about? Because not everybody else in all the other districts have a survey exactly like
So
this.
in Marion County, we follow the 5-star protocol. We rate the 5 stars at the end of the meeting. We ask them to talk about their evidence for the rating. But as part of the metrics, we have the implementation piece tied to the metrics for each of the roles, the principal, assistant principal, the lead teacher. So the district's requiring them to take a survey that's not collecting by name, but every meeting, each one of them rates based on the implementation rubric. So they've taken some time to start talking about what that looks like, sounds like. And so that's why they're entering this now.
So why don't we do this? While they're finishing that off, let's give them a humongous round of applause. My goal would be to give like an extra star because you did it in front of like 8 people. So at least with the 5-star rating, because you probably get 6 today, right? For something like that, I would say. What I want you guys to do now, because I know you're like biting your chops too, I can see you. If you want to talk about something that you saw or something that maybe you noticed is a little different than what you do it, or something that you really liked about the way that they did it. Let's take a couple minutes at your tables. Just turn and talk for about 3-4 minutes. What did you notice? I want to leave it as a very general, open-ended question like that because you're all at different places too, and different contexts. But I do want you to use that rubric on page 11, maybe to start that conversation. Okay, use that rubric on page 11 to start that conversation. What did you notice? Here's your chance to talk to each other.
So I'm calling it at 10:28. That's fine.
About what you noticed during their Fishbowl. You probably talked about a whole lot of things, right? I'm sure you talked about, and a lot of it's contextual too. You're listening, their context is going to be slightly different from your context. A lot of things are probably going to be specific to your work that you noticed. But I'd love to hear just a few comments, and I want to get on to some other things too, about what are some of the major things that you noticed. In particular, I'm kind of curious for the people that have never seen or participated in a 5-star meeting. What's something that you noticed? And Kim, do you have something you want to add?
I do. So I just want to remind everybody, and at first I want to start by thanking these guys for putting themselves out there because it's hard to do that. Super hard, and to really do it live. And I want us to keep that in mind because remember the whole purpose of us being here at this conference together is to learn and grow from one another. And so these guys are very accepting of feedback, but I want to remember it's the feedback for growth, right? It's what went well, what might be a next step. So as we provide our what do we notice responses, I want us to keep that in mind.
I think we should.
We'll just take a couple. So what are some of the things, especially if you're willing, but people that have never seen a 5-star meeting before, have never been a part of it, what did you notice?
Bethany.
Yes.
And we do want to note that this truly was a typical meeting. Even though we were doing it in front of everyone, what you saw was really pretty much how it looked. We do get a little squirrely at times and have to pull each other back.
I bet you're the only ones. I bet no one else.
Yes. But it really was. I mean, it really was what we do every week. So we do welcome that feedback. So.
What's anything that you noticed?
It was exciting for us because it mimicked ours.
Good.
So it was like looking at our own ILTs, so it made us really, I guess, reassured us that we were on the right track.
Great, some confidence too. Okay, so yeah, we're doing this right. We're doing this. Ours looks pretty similar. Cool. Great, proud.
Yeah, I was just going to say, you asked for people who I've never been to an ILT.
Yeah.
So I was encouraged to see how you use data to make it meaningful. So I think anytime we come together and we meet, you really need to find value. So I think you all did that well, so that was good to see.
Great, finding that data, looking at it. And I think it's really hard. I know the scorecard is something that everybody in that first year of implementation, the scorecard is a little bit messy too, trying to figure out what makes sense for your rocks to track and what that information is. And their scorecards, when you took a look at it, they didn't look like they were really full though, right? But remember, they're just starting these rocks. So that's why it made sense for that to be an issue that came up today too. Like, we thought this was going to be what would work for this quarter. Well, this is an issue now. We need to think about possibly readjusting that.
To build on what you're saying too, Bethany, the idea that once you figure out what you think your scorecards are, knowing that it's okay, that those are fluid documents, that as you go forward, that you really continue to look at them and not just say, okay, yeah, this is what we think the scorecard's going to be, and we just plow forward, even if we know it's not really measuring what we think it needs to measure. We make the adjustments that are aligning back to the problem of practice, the rocks. Things. Yeah.
I was just curious if your teachers are aware of your rocks and if you update them on the direction.
Our teachers are aware of our rocks, they're aware of our POIP, and they know what we're working on. Now, we don't update them as far as when they're aware of the sessions, the professional development, the collaborative plan, they know what we do in all those because they're participants. But as far as our observation scorecard, they're not aware of the data that we put on there. They know we're coaching them and we're modeling with them. And I do meet with individuals, so any of those that are in our Tier 3 teachers, they've been met with individually by me, and so they know what they need to work on. We have a plan in place for them. They know that they're being coached and for what reasons.
I have a comment and a wonder. I think for a lot of people going into it, a comment that I would suggest for anybody going into this, and I think it is seamless for you all because you're a team of 4. We are a team of 12.
Yeah.
Our high school is a team of more than 12, and your timer has got to be your left hand. Like you have got that thing, that timer's got to be loud, and then your protocol police. You know, I joked over here that our protocol police is the most desired role to be assigned because you get to hold people accountable, and so I think that's a really valuable thing. It was seamless for you all. You were like, how are we on time? And then you just kept moving, but you're a group of 4. But for us, that was a game changer to assign those roles and own that timer.
Absolutely. It's a great suggestion.
We started out that way. Yeah. Yeah.
And then my wonder is, on the equitable distribution, I noticed that your lead teacher is on every rock. Do we consider that equitable? Like, I don't know, that's my wonder. Do you consider that equitable? Now, if the team of 4, you kind of have to be in every one. If it's a team of 12, we can rotate that responsibility. So it's just a wonder. I mean, does that overwhelm you to be on every rock? Does that make you feel like you're carrying the world?
No, it doesn't, because for every rock that we have, I'm involved in it. I have a key role in observations, professional development, so I think that's why I'm on every rock.
But there's a lot of support that goes in, even though she's on every rock. There's still a lot of support that goes on from the others for her. But because our rocks are centered around math, ELA, and writing, that's why she's on every one of them.
I think it's a great wonder, and I think it's also a good suggestion. It's something for everybody to always be conscious of, right? Because that can get lopsided pretty easily sometimes.
Yeah, I just want to kind of back that up too, because I see in some instances where, because the lead teacher has full release, people think let's make them the owner of every rock, and absolutely not. And so while Monica serves a role on every rock, she's not the lead on every rock.
She's not the owner.
Yeah. Excellent thought.
Does the lead teacher have a classroom or no?
No.
No, okay. So they're there to support the teacher. So it's like a coach.
Yes.
Okay.
Anything else? We are quickly running out of time, guys, which is great, but I do want to, as we wrap up, I want to give them a chance too, because I know you guys have thought about this too. One of the questions I asked you is just to give you a minute to reflect on how this has impacted your work a little bit this year. So what are some of your big takeaways from the work, not just today's meeting, but the work of your ILT throughout the school year?
I have been a principal for 13 years, and I've always done leadership team meetings, and we've always had our agendas, and our agendas get very jam-packed with how the 3rd graders transitioned, or how did the 6th graders do when they went to lunch, or how did the behavior look at recess, or what was this, and you get sidetracked with those things so easily, and sometimes you push the things that are really impacting our student learning. Oh, we're running out of time, and I hear a transition going on in the hallway, we got to cut our meeting short, we've got to get out. So what this does for me, because I'm easily sidetracked, is because it keeps us focused on these things. You probably heard me say, I think I made a comment, I'm like, yes, we need to discuss that, but it's not dealing with our POIP or our rock, so we'll have to discuss that at another time. Because the ILT the purpose of this meeting, the 5-star meeting, is to keep us concentrating on what we said we need to work on, what our focus is. And so I think this process helps me and our team stay on track with that and make sure that this work is getting done.
Because we very often, once that timer is done, that's when we go into those other discussions. We're like, okay,
Right.
are we done? We're done with our ILT stuff now, let's talk about the other things.
So you make sure you go to the time that's needed to what matters for those rocks, right? For what you deem most worthy in your building. And then everybody else.
I think it holds us accountable.
Ah, great one.
That's-
Did you hear that?
Monica just mentioned that she thinks that it holds them accountable too.
That whatever we say we're doing, every week, it's have you done it? You know, this is what we said was important. So is that what we're doing?
Keeps us on track.
Okay, I think for the good of the group, I gotta let you leave, even though I know we can stay here a lot longer and talk about it. I want to thank everybody for being here tonight.